Good morning everybody. I am Nikki from Gracie's House. I'm a content creator based in the UK and this is the first time I've gone live on the Dixie Belle main page. I'm going to be showing you some painting with some greens. I'm going to be working on this lovely little petite sideboard. It's a really cute cabinet. I've had to replace, I only had one of the rings was missing, so I've had to replace the rings. It's just a little cupboard, there's a shelf there in the back and a couple of little drawers. So it's a really sweet piece. So it's 11 o'clock in the morning for me, and but I think I'm catching some early birds, so it's a really good slot for me, but it's going to catch you early guys on there this morning. So I'm really glad that you've come to join me. Let me know where you're watching from, and if I'm catching you super early, or because there's all sorts of time zones across the world that watch these videos. And I'm just going to get cracking. So the colours that I've picked to use, my main colour is one of my favourites, is Kudzu, which is a really nice mid-toned green. It's probably coming up a little bit brighter. It's more muted than it's showing on the screen there, but it's a really pretty green. And then I've got some more tones, mint julep, and I've also picked out Farmhouse green. I've been using this quite a lot for little highlights just lately, but I'm really fancying these three together. I think they'll sit quite nicely. I've just been doing a sort of bluey piece, and I was going to do a mid-century piece with you this morning, but it would have just been a solid one colour finish. So yesterday I quickly got this one prepped so that we can work on this. So I've given it a huge clean. Over in the UK, we don't have white lightning, but if you're in the States and you can get hold of white lightning, I would recommend using that. Brilliant for cleaning. So I use a similar kind of product, very degreasing. This had lots of layers of polish. It was a horrible finish on it. So I've given it a really good clean. I've got some resident ladybirds in my workshop. You probably can't see, but I have one here. They're obviously trying to hibernate. They keep dropping. I keep hearing these little pitter-pats, and it's a ladybird dropping from somewhere, so that's quite interesting. I have given it a really light scuff sand, simply because it had a relatively shiny surface. Now, Slick Stick is a product that can be used, but because this is wood, I've just gone for a light scuff sand. Slick Stick is more for a plastic or glass, if you need that, or like a laminate finish. But because this is wood, scuff sanding has done a really good job. Piece by piece, I decide whether I'm going to leave my hardware on or off. On these type of cabinets and these gothic type of hardware, I tend to leave them on. The screws can be really finicky to get in and out, so I just tend to leave them on. So let's get cracking. I have got 3 Dixie Belle brushes in my stash at the moment. I need to get some more ordered. So I've got an oval medium, I've got a mini angle, and then just the standard mini. I have to say these two at the moment are my favourites, so just the standard mini and the oval medium, very much my favourites. I love the oval medium for blending, just because you can be so light with it, lovely. So my main colour is the Kudzu green, and if I'm going for a one colour finish, obviously you don't need much of a plan. I tend to try and have less of a plan when I've got a mixture of colours going on, simply because things might change. It just might not suit the piece as I'm working on it. So I tend to have less of a plan. So I just want to get some paint on here for the minute. I really love this green. It's like a really nice mid-tone. It's a little bit muted. I just think it's such a pretty green. Now, I haven't bothered with boss or anything on this piece either, simply because I'm not using particularly these mid-tone colours. There shouldn't be an issue with. There can always be an exception to the rules, but in experience so far, this kind of wood I shouldn't have a problem with on these mid-tones. If you've got any questions as I go along, then by all means drop in any questions you might have. So this has got quite a lot of carved detail, so you've just got to get in there with the brush, and then you can smooth out the finish afterwards. I do have my trusty spray bottle as well, my mister bottle. I often find on the first coat I don't necessarily need a mister bottle, but I always have it on hand in case. So I can see I've got quite a lot of people watching. I wasn't sure what to expect for this early slot, whether people would be too busy doing breakfast things or school run. Let's see my ladybirds come over here now. So I'm just going to go over the hardware. Like I said, sometimes I take them off and I'll give them a good clean up, and I sometimes will spray them or paint them different colours. On this, I kind of want to get some texture and some crustiness around it, and I have to lift that up there. So I'm just going to get as much as I can of this Kudzu green on first, and then I'll start kind of playing with the lighter two colours. So there's all these little extra trims, and they're all little bits of wood to get round. It's got quite a lot of detail on this one. Just doing a light spritz there, just to help the paint move over the finish easier. Just where I've got so many details. And lots of nooks and crannies to get into. I don't think, if I've missed any questions, because I'm facing that way and it's scrolled past, I will try and come back and catch up. Once I've finished, I'll go back through and I'll check any comments that are on there. And my plan for the top, so the top I've sanded back completely, and I've got a choice of, I'm not 100% sure, I want to get the colour on the body and see how the body comes along before I completely choose what I'm going to do on the top. I worked on a piece last week on my page. I did a bookcase, and I mixed the No Pain gel stain with Big Mama's butter to basically tint the butter. It's such a nice finish. It was such a nice finish. Gives you a little bit more control. Really, really nice. So that's one option to go on the top of here. My other option is to use Tobacco Road Voodoo gel stain. And I like both. I really can't make my mind up. Maybe I'll do a vote on it. Because the Tobacco Road is very muted, and thanks Dixie Belle. Yeah, my Gracie's house is in the comments at the top, which should be tagged. So I'm really, really pleased how this colour is suiting this piece already. I can just see that it's the right colour to pick. Okay, let's keep going. So yeah, if you haven't ever tried mixing the No Pain gel stain with Big Mama's butter, it's really, really nice. It's a really nice way to give you a finish that you can buff, because it's the butter, but it's tinted, so it's not so intense as the full-on No Pain gel stain. just so many details in this piece. So don't forget to drop in the comments if you tell me where you're watching from. Have you used Dixie Belle before? Are you quite new to Dixie Belle? I might have to get a smaller brush to get in all of those nooks and crannies. Although ultimately I might be putting something, I might use a darker wax, or I might use Dixie Dirt on this piece. We won't get to that today. I still like to make sure everything's had a coat of paint. It's a really sweet piece, and I just feel like this is going to have, I feel like I'm going to put some distressing on this one. I just think all those details just picked out with some distressing will be lovely. Make it a bit more of a farmhouse feel, especially with this colour. I think it's, the trouble is I end up wanting to keep all my pieces. Do any of you guys do that? Do you want to keep stuff? I think the more I do, I used to be really good at detaching myself and getting rid of pieces and just listing them and getting rid. I think the more I do and the more interesting finishes I'm creating, it makes me want to keep way more pieces. And they've got these big chunky legs, but again, I can just see these distressed back with the green on, and some layering of the other greens I think will look really nice. I don't know if I'm missing any comments. I'm not sure. I can see people coming on, but I don't know if I'm missing comments or whether I'm not getting any. So I will check back at the end. Quite often I get asked as well, do I take my drawers and cabinet doors and things off? Hi Kelly, you're working on a half moon table. Lovely. I've seen a comment come through, so it's just, there is comments. Yes, so people often ask, do I take the drawers out? Do I take the doors off? Again, I do that on a project by project basis. If I'm doing a really, really clean, one colour finish, then I will take everything out, because I don't have to match up where the changes are happening. If there's blending going on or anything, any specialist finish, I feel like you have to keep them on to make sure that it is cohesive. I don't want to have to fiddle around with my finish once I've put everything back together. I think I've had a couple of comments that I just want. Do you need to use Boss after use of satin finish? No, you would use Boss at the beginning. So Boss is for bleed through and the stopping of odours and smells and bleed through. Sorry, stains. So no, you would use if you've got a piece of furniture that's made of a wood that might bleed or is particularly stinky, has some other stains, water staining, then that's when you use Boss. So there's mahogany, cherry wood, some oak I find to bleed, and pine with the knots. But you can spot finish pine if you want to. You can just spot finish on the actual knots itself. It just depends what you would rather do. But they also show more through on a lighter finish, as I said. So these mid-tone colours don't tend to have too much of a problem. legs are great, aren't they? All the pieces you've painted you keep. You can't help it. Oh, Cheryl, that's funny. I'm sorry. Well, I think a load of comments have just come through, and I've only got a little space because I've gone landscape today, so I will catch up with you afterwards. I'm here to paint. I don't want to have to keep scrolling through everything to catch up. If I catch any at the time, I will do. But I've got a feeling I might have seen Jackie pop on there as well. So I picked this piece so that it was a bit more interesting for you, because I thought a mid-century piece with a one colour finish would be, you know, it's not boring, but for those of you that want a little bit more of an interesting piece of furniture and finish, and I've probably given myself a bit of a task because of all of these carvings and yeah, and all around the hardware, I've probably done myself a disservice. I feel like I'm going all over the place. I keep seeing bits that I want to get all of the paint in, rather than just... I'm not having much of a system this morning to this. So I'm trying to get as much of this colour done so that we can just have a little play with some of the other colours, just to see how the piece will balance out. I quite like, although I'm not going for like a really smooth blend on this. This is going to be a little bit rougher than that. I just feel like it. Hello, lovely. You all right, Heike? Heike. Oh, sorry, I always pronounce your name wrong. I quite often I will lay all of my colours down first of all, and I'll do a really rough blend where I'm going to be, so I don't have to worry about that harsh edge that there might be between one colour and another. And I know that's not the way it works for everybody, but personally for me, I just find it's something less that I have to do on the second coat. If I'm doing blending, a blended finish, I just find it much easier not to have to fight against that line on my second coat. Well, I don't know where my ladybird's gone. She's gone somewhere. She's done a runner. So it's really difficult actually to get the paint into all these bits. But I do feel like it's lending itself to maybe a wax or a Dixie Dirt finish at the end. So again, I'm just kind of letting the piece talk to me as I'm working on it as well. And I'm not, although I'm trying to get in all the gaps and the carvings and things, I'm also not too fussed, because you will catch those bits on the next time round, on the next coat. I do want to try and get in here more. I think I need a smaller brush to get in those bits better. Do the front of this other leg. So it's really, we're back in lockdown at the moment here. So we're in, I wouldn't say it's like a full lockdown like it has been. Caroline, I know this is a good one, isn't it? This is, it's a good slot. It's a nice slot for me. It works well. Yeah, so in the UK we are back in lockdown. It's not quite as severe because the kids are still allowed to go to school. which is great for me. I know there's lots of people that don't think that that's good, but I think it helps everything move along, so it is good for me because I get very much less done when Gracie's here. And I end up painting out of my kitchen, which is not ideal. Okay, so I've got a decent first coat of the Kudzu green. So I'm going to go in with, what have we got? I think I'm going to go with the Farmhouse. Kelly, you're just coming out, aren't you? Oh, yeah, we were lucky to have the sort of break, and they're talking about it finishing around the 4th of December, but there's also lots of people talking about whether it's going to be extended or whether they'll give us a little break at Christmas and then carry on again in January, go back in again in January. So who knows? Because there's also massive talk about the vaccine becoming really close. 13 days without any new cases. Cool, that's good. Well, it's worked for you guys then. So it's still quite, our temperatures are really funny at the moment. It's quite mild today, but because it goes quite cold overnight, we didn't have a frost last night, but my paint, they're taking longer to dry. So like I was working on a piece yesterday and it literally felt like it sat in the workshop the whole day and was still damp. So, but again, because this is just my first coat, I'm just gonna pop on some highlights and just see. So I want to highlight these areas here, and I want to be quite gentle with it. So I'm just gonna go in with another brush and just see how it looks really. And I will get I'll use another brush to sort of do some rough blending. I just want to get some colour on. So I don't want it too full on, but I just want it to pop out a little bit. And I'm really, Farmhouse Green, those of you that follow my page, I have used it as highlighting quite a lot recently. I love it. It's just such a pretty colour. Go in on these bits here as well. Kind of all the raised bits really. Excuse me. I'm just trying to be a little bit not too. I want to dab it over the hardware as well and create a little bit of texture around that. Yeah, I'll use this one. So I've got my mini angle now, just because that's my last Dixie Belle brush that isn't in paint yet. And I'm just gonna pull a bit back off. Oopsie. So I'm feeling this one's a little bit more subtle than the one I've got over here. So I need to pull some of this paint back off of over here. So I'm just going to go in over here, pull some of that off. And I've just seen I've got a dribble there. I really did put too much on that side. I'm going to pop a little bit more of the original Kudzu green on there just to tone that down a bit. I really want it to be quite subtle. And like I said, this is kind of just a rough, getting my sort of basic paint colours on. I'm not too precious about, the coverage will be decent because Dixie Belle's got great coverage, so I'm not too precious about that. I just want to get the colours in the rough areas that I want them. And I think these are looking like they pop much more on the camera than they do it in here in real life. But I shall probably be going over with, I'm thinking maybe some grey wax on this piece later. So I'm not too worried. This is first coat, I've got a dribble there, a cheeky little dribble under my handle. There we go. Okay, let's just put some more of the Farmhouse green. So I'm going to go pop some on this hardware. And of course I can go in, I'm going to layer more over. I'm going to keep layering as I go. That's too much paint. There we go. And then once I've worked on where my greens are going to be, then I'll pull the drawers out and I'll finish those off properly. Because this is actually a relatively, although it looks an older piece, it's quite a modern piece. So the finish of it's quite nice. So I do want to finish this off quite tidy. Kelly, what's my favourite brush for blending? Although I've used this to put the main colour down, I love my oval medium for blending, that way around. Just because it's got such long filaments, you can really hardly have any touch at all with it. It's really nice, and it's you know, however you feel comfortable holding the brush. I quite like down there. Heikki's just said something. Hang on, let me just see, because she's. Oh, thank you. The details are popping. Heikki, what would I do without a personal reminder? Maybe I've missed a comment further up. Sorry, guys. I'm going to pop some of the, what am I doing? So I'm going to put a little bit more in here. And go along there as well. And I'm just going to blend a little bit just to pull back that Farmhouse green a bit. I really don't want I want the Kudzu to be the main show. I don't want the Farmhouse green to kind of take over too much. Ordinarily, I would be feeling like this panel needs something as well, but there is just so much going on. It kind of feels like it wants to have something in there, but there is so much going on, I just think it would be too much. And I'm also thinking as well, I think once I've done like another coat, I feel like actually dry brushing is going to really benefit this piece. I just think that might look really sweet. I'm going to pop a bit along those edges there as well. I hope I'm not getting in front of the camera too much when I'm working on this. I feel like I'm on the floor all the time recently. They're really cute colours together. I've never used these two together before. And I'm really liking them actually. I like both of them individually, but I think they work really nicely together here. But I have got a third green, so let's crack that open as well. So let's get some mint julep on there too. Why not? Why not? I think this one kind of fits nicely between the two as well. Now I'm going to have to grab another brush because I've only got those 3 Dixie Belle ones, so I'm just getting grab another one. Okay, let me just see, where should we go? Maybe just a little bit around those edges. Let's have a little look, see how it looks just popping it around there. Ooh, that's pretty. That's really pretty as like a transition colour. Sort of slightly more minty than the other 2. Mint julep, there's the hint. I like that. Oh, I really like that. I think that's going to look really sweet. I think actually, after having said that the it's not drying very quickly, I think this actually is. So what I don't want to keep doing is overworking it now, where it's like half dry and pulling the paint back. But I'm loving the mint julep just as a little transitional colour there. Around the edges. I think that's really sweet. And again, this is first coat. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a perfect blend. It doesn't even have to be a perfect positioning of the colours. It's just getting some paint on and seeing how I'm happy with it. You know, get a feel for the colours that you're working with, and yeah, I'm much happy with that. I mean, I liked both of the colours before, but I really like that. It makes me want to put some in here as well. Let's just move that up. Yeah, pretty. So I hope you're enjoying what I'm doing so far. I'm really going to have to come back and comment and chat to everybody afterwards. I've been using on my latest piece as well, I've been using the patina paint in the bronze. Now we can't get the activator spray product. Oh, thanks Jackie, I've just seen your little comment pop up, thank you. But I love the bronze just on its own. So I'm feeling like these hardware, these handles, I think are going to get the bronze treatment. I've really liked it. And I'm working on my own sort of spray to activate it. But even on its own, it's just a beautiful colour. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so I kind of feel like I need to stop there. And no, I don't. I'm going to stick a little bit more of the mint julep. I'm really liking the mint julep. Mint julep. I have done a piece with mint julep and Kudzu before, layered with some crackle finish on it as well. And it was really pretty. And I think just the addition of the Farmhouse green has lifted it even more. Yeah, just quite like that in that panel there with the mint julep. Yeah, I don't want to fiddle with it too much because I feel like I'm lifting more paint off. So I'm not going to get the hairdryer out and do that, because I personally feel if you leave it to dry nicely overnight, you'll get a nicer, much easier to work with finish the following day. But I hope you have enjoyed just having a little look at the greens that I've used. So just as a recap, I've been using, that's the main green, is the Kudzu green. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Could be wrong. Mint julep for my mid sort of tones. And the Farmhouse green for the light highlights. So really appreciate you taking the time. I know for some of you, For the main page, this is an early slot, I think, if you're in America, so sorry about that, but thanks for joining me. If you haven't already, if you could just pop on my page and drop me some love, that would be awesome. There's also links for finding your local retailer, so it's always good to support local. Pop on there, pop onto that, and see if you've got anyone close to you, if you're interested in buying products from your local retailer. And there's a link to buy through my link there as well. And yeah, as I said, if you're going to watch on replay, drop me some hashtag replays. I will do my absolute best to go back in and comment on everybody, any questions that anyone's left. And have a good day. Enjoy yourself. Bye.